If you want a new result in life, you have to change who you are and you need to change the frames in which you're operating. If you want to escape any of your problems, you need to change who you are and you need to change the frames in which you're operating. What am I talking about? For example, let's say I'm a married woman who's suffering a lot under her mother-in-law. Okay, isn't this very common? When this is happening to you, you really need to change into, let's ask one simple question. In the life situation that I have, who am I being? Am I being a victim or am I being a hero? Try to notice these two things and see if you're okay with being a victim. Whenever you complain and you make a big list of how things are overwhelming you and you can't get things done, you are being a victim. How to stop being a victim? How to get into a heroic mode? I advise people to become the deity that they most like. Okay, so I started off by becoming Bhairav. I said, I have all these problems. I want to be Bhairav. How would Bhairav deal with this? Okay, that's what I asked. How will Bhairav deal with this? And then I realized I can't be Bhairav all the time cutting off people's heads. I need a reasonable side also where there's a learning part, where I learn and I don't just do. For the doing the kriyas, the work, the karmas, I can be Bhairav, but for learning I can't be Bhairav because Bhairav already knows. So I need a version of Bhairav that is learning. And so I thought about Batuk Bhairav, which is Bhairav as a young boy. So I made drawings of these two and I asked Devi to make me that. Surprisingly, I started to get, my body started to change. I lost all the extra fat in my body. You might have noticed if you've been watching the videos. It just happened after I turned into Bhairav, which means in my mind I started thinking, what would Bhairav do? Just like what would Jesus do? What would Bhairav do? WWBD. And when I did that, I started getting better and better answers. So every difficult situation in my life, there were so many, okay? We launched now a media company which releases podcasts. I launched it in November and now we've already got more than 1 lakh followers and on YouTube and even on Instagram. In 9 months, we're turning over quite a lot of money. I don't want to discuss how much, but it's a lot. And this is just one business. I launched so many other things parallelly to this and they're all doing well. And the reason that all this is happening is because I don't respond like a victim anymore. I respond like a god. So this is my invitation to you. If you have the guts to do it, go and be a god. Go and tell yourself, I want to be like Hanuman, or I want to be like Devi, or I want to be like whoever. Okay? So coming back to this lady who's being tortured by her mother-in-law, she's just a victim. And she says, I don't want to be a victim. I am like a rabbit. Anything can happen to me. An eagle can come and pick me up and go. I don't want to be like that. I want to be like Kali. She says, I want to be like Kali. She's also got to find a version of Kali that's learning. So she can think of Bhadrakali, who's gentle and always shant and sitting down. For learning and for execution, she can be Mahakali with all her weapons and all her hands and doing it. And start feeling like, what would Kali think now about this situation? And you'll start getting answers. Okay, this is the proper way to practice bhakti. This is a proper way to have Shraddha. Because you have to embody the divinity within you. If you're not able to do this, then you should join my course, the 60-40 challenge, where we'll make you do this step by step. But this is really the first step. If you don't change your self-image, self-image is called various things, ahankara, swamurti, all of these things. If you don't change that, you will filter the information coming from your senses in a poor way and you won't be able to distill out what you really need. All sorts of information will come and you can't distill it out because whatever comes from the manas, which is your mind, which is full of smriti, it's full of memories, is filtered. And these memories are like millions of years old. They're from your first birth or whatever, I don't know, since the beginning of the universe. And also all the memories of your ancestors, they're all within your mind. But when the manas filters it according to buddhi. Now buddhi has been trained by an institution called Thames Nadi Education. And this is invented by the British and it's trained you that nothing magical can happen with you finished. you have to be very ordinary. So it's very good in training people to be ordinary. But if you want to be extraordinary, you have to come back to Sanatan Dharma. And here you have to ask yourself, like, I need my buddhi to grow. So you can ask Ma Kali to make your buddhi grow. And say, Buddhi De Ma Kali. And then you make your buddhi grow. And you say, I just don't want to. Just because I think I've been educated that something is not possible, is it really not possible? Do I really know it? You have to ask yourself if you really know it. If you really know it, then yes, of course, be sad and be a victim. But you don't really know it, and that's the truth. So when you go ahead and really find out what's happening with you, you'll find out that anything is possible. And that's your buddhi. So your buddhi is now allowing it, your intelligence is now allowing it. Then it gets filtered to the Swamurti, which is from Buddhi answers the question, is it possible? Swamurti or Ahankara answers the question, is it possible for me? And the answer should be a resounding yes, because you're a goddess or you're a god, it's possible for you. And if you're able to do that, if you're able to create this Swamurti all the time and think like the god, like I'm always thinking like Bhairav, what will Bhairav think about this? What will Bhairav think about that? This morning, I dislocated my toe because there was no light and I was in a new hotel. So I was walking towards the outdoors to see if the sun has risen. It hadn't risen yet. And then I cracked my toe, not cracked it, I hit my toe and then it was bent like that way. And I said, what would Bhairav do? He said, Bhairav would heal it. So I said, let's heal it. So I caught the toe and straightened it and came back with a snap, and then I'm able to move the toe like this now. It is a bit swollen, but it's okay, it's getting better. And then I said, what else would Bhairav do? Bhairav would never bother about the pain because he has spiritual powers. So send spiritual powers towards the toe and I said, heal it. And it started healing. Okay? Because I asked Devi for this, let me be Bhairav. And she said, okay, that's interesting, I'll let you be Bhairav. Why the hell not? Be Bhairav. Have his powers, do things like him. Okay? So this is something that you can always do. You know, there's few more things that I really screw up in my life, but then by being Bhairav, I'm able to get out of it. And there's a lot of things that I wouldn't dream of as an ordinary person that I'm able to dream of now as Bhairav. Like, what would Bhairav dream? Okay, so you really need to get into this mood. You need to toss away all of the shit teachings that tell you that you can't be magical and you've got to be magical today. Go ahead and apply this. I made drawings of my Swamurti, my Ahankara, and I put it up in my room so that I can see it every day. And when I see it, I commit every day to being that person. So this is all you have to do. If you can't do the simple thing, you're pretty screwed. Okay? But if you can do the simple thing and you want to learn more, go join the 64-day challenge and then I will teach you this personally.